Bears. Welcome in, everyone, to Barely Educated, the podcast by Bears fans for Bears fans. I'm Mark, joined as always by Chris. We are here to preview Bears, Saints, and a couple other games in the week. What is the 7 slate? Chris, how are you?
Not bad. It's a busy week here at school, homecoming week. So lots of stuff going on. Especially, it's one of the busiest weeks of the year for the music department. So running around like crazy. But got a couple hours here to take a breather and talk Bears. So yeah.
Bears. Not that it'll be a couple hours. I
No, no,
don't
no,
have a
no,
couple hours.
no.
But we did want to get this second episode this week up. We usually do, if we get the chance to do the preview one upon further review from the previous game. And I gotta say, there's not a whole lot that I want to tweak there. We had former student Tim
Former student Tim.
talking about the run D not being fixed necessarily just yet, which, yeah, I'll agree that we want to give that some more time. But it was obviously much improved in that 1 week sample. And beyond that, we'll see where things go. But I think most of what I said and what we said about the game pretty much holds true. Um, they cleaned up enough. They came out and won after the bye for once. The coaches are good. Their bad's already off the table.
Oh, amazing. It's such a relief, finally. And the
So
team
that
loved him
stuff's all
too.
fun to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd said I responded to a Robert Mays and Start Kyle Orton, one of my favorite Twitter
A
accounts.
great
Start
follow
Kyle Orton.
for
Yeah,
years,
he's a
yes.
really fun follow. Anyway, Robert Mays replied to him, and so then I replied, and I said something about how the Raiders game is a loss 90+% of the time just because of the running disparity.
Mm.
And the Commanders game felt like notable progress, like on both fronts. And Robert was like, 100% agree. So now my Twitter account can be retired because
Excellent.
I love Robert Mays. He's awesome. And he's a fully analytical Bears fan, which I appreciate. But the point actually is just worth reiterating. They deserved to win that Commanders game and probably by more than 1 point. If you're just trying to look at like what they've done and how it's looked, the Raiders game was the lucky game.
True.
But you
True.
did earn the turnovers. So the question is, moving forward, what's this thing look like if they're not getting 3 turnovers a game? They're gonna need more consistent play from the offense.
Yeah, I got to turn field goals into touchdowns. There was that looming, the first half of the Commanders game, that looming dread that, oh, these field goals aren't going to be enough. Got to convert these into touchdowns. And it almost turned out to be the case that having to settle for field goals uh, could have made it a loss.
And we know that's not what Ben Johnson wants to do either. But you look at Moody, picked up off the street, going 4 of 5, hitting the game winner, and you think, great at first glance. But then if you stop and think about it, like, I don't love 5 field goal attempts.
Yes, right. Hmm.
I mean, on the one hand, you're having sustained drives, but on the other, they're dying at the 20.
Hmm. Yeah. How do
So,
you convert those into?
okay, so then I guess that's enough on that game, other than the Bears week that was, usually our next little segment. We get into the film review that if there's any that are really drawing a lot of attention, not really much being said there. We get into whatever grades and snap counts if we want. I know you want to mention the PFF
I,
grades.
I do, yeah.
So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back to one other thing I wanted to do about the week that was, and then we'll get into the Saints.
Just a something I don't understand. You know me, I'm a big eye test guy. What do you see? That tells you about how good a player is or isn't. So PFF, which I mean, sometimes we love what they have to say, sometimes we hate what they have to say. I'm just confused here because They have Caleb as the 31st ranked QB from this past weekend. Two
Seems
spots,
harsh. It seems
huh?
harsh.
Yeah,
That seems
yeah.
harsh.
It's very harsh. And I mean, he threw a touchdown, ran a touchdown, had about 250 yards passing. So no interceptions, no fumbles.
Did have two turnover worthy throws, though. It
Yeah,
should
two
be
that could
noted.
have been
They
maybe should have been
should have
picked, but
probably been.
fine. Yeah, agreed.
On balance, maybe say one or something.
Okay, yeah, okay. But Justin Fields, our old former guy, right? He threw for 40 something yards, but after you take out his 9 sacks, the Jets had a passing attack that stood for negative 10 yards, I believe, for negative 11 yards.
As a team because of the sacks, yeah.
Right. How in the world do you look at those two performances and say Justin Fields did a better job than Caleb Williams? I do not understand how that is. What am I missing and what they look for or what they determine to decide that he gets a grade that low? And Jaden Daniels is 23rd from last week, which seems about right to me because he wasn't. I mean, the best part of his game was scrambling, broken plays. He had the bad interception in the red zone. He had the fumble at the end of the game that gave it to the Bears. How is he 8 spots higher than Justin Fields? Or excuse me, the Caleb Williams. I'm struggling here. Help me out here. I'm trying
Well,
not to deep
how
ball
is he
Kate.
below Fields is just straight nonsense. I know they take into account turnover worthy throws. They take into account what they perceive to be individual players' jobs and how well they did it. That usually comes up for me in the context of the line play because we get lots of breakdowns of QBs and other places from people who know more about it, and I don't particularly care what PFF says compared to, say, Kurt Warner or someone.
Yeah.
But like line play, I think it's handy because it's a metric and there aren't very many comparatively, at least. But I saw a nugget where they had done it based off the broadcast film too.
Oh.
And I'm just like face palm, like phenomenally bad approach. Like there you go, it's bogus.
What's
That's a
yeah?
wrap.
What's
You
scientific
can't bait
about
the
that?
broadcast is not what you grade off of. Give me a break.
Right. Yeah.
So I immediately dismissed it when I heard that, and I don't know if that helps you any, but
That
it's pretty
does.
bad. I
But
would say watching as much NFL as I watch right now, Caleb Williams is middle of the pack.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
But a lot of the guys that are middle of the pack are either much older or just like him, young players still figuring out where this is going to land. So there's nothing wrong with that. Last year he was towards the bottom because of the sack rate alone and the deep ball inaccuracy. And when I try to contextualize everything, and for me, in context, the best thing about this year, besides Ben Johnson, is, and Ben's a part of this, of course, Caleb's already cut the sack rate substantially,
Yeah.
and he's improved the deep ball accuracy. What's been bad, and it's weird because it wasn't the issue last year, is his short throw accuracy.
Mm.
So we get that fixed. I think we'll see the efficiency increase. He didn't play a great game. He didn't play a worse than the league game. But I mean, give me a break. He should have been like the 20th or something, I would think,
At the lowest.
last week.
Yeah.
And like the Dallas game was really good. I mean, so there's a Caleb Williams weekly randomness that we're still, I feel like, sorting. And it's also great that at the end of the games you feel pretty confident with him. Like that's been steady. The beginning of the game, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Okay. It's like that's where I need him to improve, and in that short to medium accuracy needs to improve.
Yeah.
But he's already improved two of the big categories we wanted him to improve. So, like, let's be reasonable about this too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that does help. I gotta find where you said that the broadcast weighed into the ranking there because that seems extremely unscientific
It
for
does.
an outlet that's claiming to be scientific.
I think the other topic of the week then is the Troy Aikman stuff.
Mm.
And here I would have preferred if the Bears had just taken the high road. I think Caleb even bringing up that, oh, I tried to call him back and the ball, it's like that's stepping in it in a way you don't even need to do. I don't think it's a great look. I don't think it's a good look for Aikman either. I think that the smart play as an organization there is to just take the high road and say, we understand that broadcasting is an art, and sometimes maybe things snowball during the course of a game. No hard feelings. I'm sure I have plays I wish I could redo. Maybe he has comments he wishes he could restate. It's no big deal. Instead, it was like Ben clowning on it a little bit, kind of tongue in cheek, which wasn't too bad. And then Caleb's comments explaining it more than anyone needed to know, to where you're just like, don't even do it.
Mm.
And I just wish they'd taken the high road. I wish there was a little less drama sometimes around Caleb. A lot of it isn't his fault, but occasionally I'm like, you don't really, what do you benefit from with this? Young guy learning still, but I can't imagine the Bears were like, here's what we want you to say. And then it was that.
Oh,
Like, that sounds like he went kind of on his own.
yeah. I understand Ben sticking up for his guy, but
Yeah, and that's fine too. That's a good point.
so has Aikman addressed the game at all or the controversy at all that you?
Not that I've
I
seen,
haven't seen anything. No, no.
but I do want to do one more media chiding, as this is like a subtext of this whole
Okay,
pod.
sure.
I'm pretty annoyed at the score and the Bernsteins of the world who are like telling fans to get over it. No, this was definitely a legitimate phenomenon within the game that affected the viewers' like experience of trying to enjoy the game. And we are absolutely allowed to point out how ridiculous it was. Shut up. Stop being a little media conglomerate and actually be critical of yourselves too. It
Right.
was bad. And I like Aikman, and it was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
I have every right to point out that it was bad. I don't want my players and coaches doing so much of it because I think they should take the high road. I get to not take the high road. I can play around in the crap with the rest of you media types and tell you it was bad.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty bad. It's
So shut
funny.
up with your sanctimonious chewing out the fans for having an opinion you disagree with.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to the score in a long time, but I did hear
Yeah,
Bernstein.
same. That's coming from Cousin Nate's report on the
Cousin Nate.
score.
Thank you, cousin Nate. You are our spy, our intelligence
Yeah.
agent into six.
Score spy, Cousin Nate.
Yes.
Also, happy belated birthday. His birthday was
Ooh,
yesterday.
happy birthday, cousin Nate. That's
And
fantastic.
I talked to him for like an hour on my way home about the Bears, as one does,
Yes, yeah, as you do. Yeah.
and totally forgot that it was his birthday because in my head it wasn't yet the 16th. So I screwed the whole thing up. And I texted him this morning. I was like, it's not like we talked for an hour and I had any opportunities to remember at any given point. So I thought he'd
Yeah,
enjoy that.
that's cool. Yeah. It's real quick back to the media telling us what to think or not think. Yesterday on Bernstein's show, they brought up the PFF rankings, and he was trying so hard to prove that he was being cool and calm and collected and just curious as to what the discrepancy is from what he saw on the field. He's like, I'm not mad, I'm not angry at PFF, or it was like he was being very, very careful not to contradict himself, even though you could tell he wanted to say, "What the
But he
heck?"
had to because of what he said about Aikman the day
Yeah, he
before or
had to.
whatever.
He had to. So I kind of enjoyed that. And
You paint yourself in a corner, that's what you get.
right. Mm-hmm.
Fans are allowed to have their thoughts on a broadcast, especially when it's practically universal. Again, NFL fans, not Bears fans, were
Yeah.
also like, what is this broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, Aikman's luck thing, another cousin Nateism, this was actually about how on the Swift touchdown. He didn't say it was lucky that he scored a touchdown because he broke a tackle. He was saying it was lucky because they could have had a delay of game.
Yeah, that clock
And
read zero. It sure
yeah,
did.
so that's more fair than how it's being presented, but
True.
that doesn't change the overall, way he was going about it as a broadcaster. And again, it's in contrast to the other QB.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you could say, oh, he's just going to be critical of these young QBs. He wants to hold to a high standard. I could respect that. It's the fact that you have a double standard, not a high standard.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well said. Well said.
All right, let's get over that and move on to the Saints.
Sounds good.
Is this a trap game?
Yes.
It is.
because one reason is the weather that's supposed to be coming into Soldier Field. It's supposed to be cold. Well, not cold. I think 50s. It's supposed to be wet and windy. It's supposed to be a very,
Mm.
very windy game. So I could see that absolutely derailing what the Bears, Ben Johnson, may want to do in terms of passing. You're going to have to rely on the run game, I think, to win this game. But
Depends on how. Depends. I don't know. I've seen plenty of bad weather games where teams have no trouble passing the ball.
okay, all right. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
But I mean, we had the monsoon week one a few years ago, and that was definitely not
Yeah.
one where you could pass the ball well.
So combine that with the fact that you should absolutely stomp the Saints. Yeah, that worries me.
Exactly. These kind of games I've always joked it's like hard to enjoy because it's like the Lovey era versus the Lions, that whole joke.
Yeah,
Where if
right.
you don't beat them by 30, you're like, what's wrong with us?
Hmm.
And I think they're sneaky mediocre, if I can make up a term. Not sneaky good. They're 1-5, and you're like, trash team. But then you look at it, and Spencer Rattler has a 6-to-1 TD to interception ratio and a 68% completion percentage and just a tiny bit more yards than Caleb.
Mm.
I, I mean, that's a fine start to a second year on a
Yeah,
bad team.
yeah,
And Kamara's got more yards by a tick than Swift.
yeah.
And oh, by the way, on the yards, they've also played another game.
Ooh,
So I'm kind of mocking the people who point that out, but also trying to point out that they don't have a lot of talent. I thought they might be the worst team in the league, frankly.
I remember you
But
said.
then I look at their losses and it's like six to Buffalo, six to the Patriots, five to the 49ers. They're barely losing to these much better teams in theory. And you're like, they're not that far off. I thought they'd be getting blown out. They haven't been blown out really by anybody except for the second game. Who'd they play that week? I can't remember who blew them out. Somebody blew them out. I think Seattle, who actually looks really good. So I'm like, this is not the easy game we thought in some respects, but I still think the Bears are way more talented and probably way better coached. Although Kellen Moore might be good. I know Ben's good. So let's just say better coached. And you break down the team-wide numbers. Their offense, when the Saints have the ball versus our defense, they are 24th in overall yards per game.
Hmm.
Bears defense is 26th.
Okay, so about
That's how
even.
reliant they are on the turnovers, by the way. Man, just
Yes.
be careful, everybody. It's just hard way to live. I know it's effective, and sometimes the season has a life of its own, and you just keep getting them,
Hmm.
and then the next year you get like 12, and you're like, what happened to the 30?
Yep.
But the Bears are giving up yards, and the Saints don't usually get very many. So that's, resistible force versus the movable object. They are the 28th passing offense, and the Bears are the 11th passing defense.
Okay, like that.
So all that stuff on Rattler, it's a lot of dink and dunk stuff. That
Hmm.
explains the higher completion percentage. He's not taking that many shots downfield and so on. Running the ball, they're 19th. Can't really get that going apparently, but the Bears are 31st.
Yes, that's.
And
But
we said they'd improved it because they were probably dead last before.
they
And that's
were.
also
Yes.
because we had the caveat in that idea that we weren't worried about Daniels because we're not playing Daniels again. We do play Lamar, but we're trying to stop the main running backs, which we weren't even doing. So that's an interesting question, I think, about this game is which Bears run defense shows up
Yep.
out of the last 2 weeks?
And
The
Kamara.
average one, it wasn't great. Let's not pretend it's like amazing, but they did an okay job against Washington. That team beats the Saints. But the team that played the Raiders
Hmm.
could lose to anyone.
Yeah.
And the team that played the Lions will lose to
Oh.
anyone
Oh. Hopefully that team is
defensively.
long in the rearview mirror. Hopefully, but yeah. Okay.
Defensively.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so when the Bears have the ball, the 14th best offense by yards per game versus the 18th best defense.
Okay.
11th best pass offense. Look at that. We're about to crack the top 10
Wow. Top
versus the
half of the league.
17th pass defense.
Okay.
And then 18th rush D offense versus the 16th rush D. So, I mean, you look at the numbers here and you're going, this is actually pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
when the Bears have the ball. The Saints D has been decidedly average. I thought they'd be terrible. So they can't let up. This is not the cupcake we kind of thought, even at the 1-5 record, when you take a deeper look at what they've done. But here's the biggest difference: points per game. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears are 10th in the NFL in points per game at 25.2. How long have we been begging them to just average something like that?
Yeah.
Because they lose all these games where the defense held on, and then all of a sudden it's 24-20. You're like, if you could just get to 25 with any consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's push it to 30.
Fine with me.
And then the Saints are 29th in the league at 18 and a half.
There you go. And that fits with Rattler's high completion percentage, low uh, or short dink and dunk, like you said. Like they're not making big plays, so that makes sense to why maybe they don't haven't scored as many points, but seemingly having an efficient offense.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why Caleb is so encouraging because he's still a big game hunter and he still hits a lot of big plays. And
Yeah.
the Bears are second in the league in explosive plays,
Ooh, I did not know
which
that.
is plays over 20 yards.
Nice.
So things are coming along, but let's not count any chickens before they hatch. But this is a better roster than the Saints roster.
Yeah.
So I think we finally get the Saints after all these years of them beating us.
Hmm.
And I'll say Bears 27, Saints 19.
Okay, I like it.
I'll kind of be in that range of what they tend to score because that's bold of me.
It is. Yeah. Assuming weather's going to be a factor, I'm going to go Bears 20, Saints 13 or 14. 14. So they still have to. The Bears have to stop the Saints on a fourth quarter drive that could potentially win it. 2014.
Okay, low scoring, back to setting football back 30 years like
Because of the
as
weather.
the Bears tend to do.
Because of the weather, my friend.
But you're deep diving on Bears weather. Oh man. All right. Let's
I'm
see
not
how
saying
it
the bad weather's
goes.
going to make them win.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
little
Okay. All right.
meatball-y. No, I'm
All
just.
right. Yeah, well, that's what I'm picking on you for.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's half the fun. Okay, to the division.
What the?
Philadelphia at Minnesota.
By the way, Bears are 4.5 point favorites.
Yep, it came down. It was five.
Mm.
So,
All right,
so
Philadelphia.
Eagles, whatever they are currently,
Yeah,
at the Vikings, whatever they are with the QB situation. Shout out to Justin Jefferson for the hilarious video where he
that
pretended to
was
be the team
great.
photographer. I was like, dude, this guy can act. That was
That was,
great.
it was. It was. Yeah.
I Anyway, back to this game. I'm scared to do this because they've just looked pathetic, but I know they're better than this. And I feel like they're hitting the Chiefs territory. It's like, we're gonna look pathetic for a while, figure our crap out, and then start winning all these games, which is what the Chiefs are in the middle of doing.
Right.
I'm gonna pick the Eagles. One of these days they're gonna look right again.
Hmm.
And I do not buy Minnesota's 3-2 record. They should have lost to Chicago. They arguably should have lost to Cleveland.
Mm.
I I think the coach is great. I think the weapons are good. Jefferson's elite, and the line is just okay. And the QB thing is a gigantic red flag. I don't see any way to take that seriously against the defending champs, even if the defending champs are reeling. There could definitely be a bounce back. Oh, right, they're the defending champs game one of these weeks. I don't know if that'll dominate, but I think the Eagles will win this. And I think Minnesota just doesn't have the juice with Wentz at QB or McCarthy so far.
Yep. I agree. The Eagles have been uncharacteristically bad the last 2 weeks, and they are 2.5 point road favorites right now. So Vegas seems to think they're going to win by 4 or 5 also. So, yeah, I'm with you. Eagles bounce back, look more like the team that is the defending champs.
Well, you could always be weary of a road favorite kind of coming in not so great. The league's topsy-turvy. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they suddenly look like the Eagles again. Or just the Vikings offense can't do anything. Beats me. All
Yep.
right, Green Bay at Arizona. Man, Arizona getting 6.5 at home.
Why
This
does
is
it seem?
essentially a 10-point spread if it was a neutral site.
Why does it always seem like the Packers have an easy game. It always seems like that.
because they do.
Is Kyler Murray in or out? Do you know?
I don't know. Call of Duty's not out yet, but there is a Battlefield game that might explain what's going on with him. He's
Yeah.
never going to hear the end of that. I'm sorry, everyone. I know it's a tired, worn out joke, but I
No,
had
no,
to make it.
great, great.
I have no idea if he's playing. I don't much think it matters. I think Green Bay's going to win. This is
Yep,
the kind of team I mean, they lost to the Browns and tied the Cowboys, so what do I know? But I can't take Arizona seriously, even though they played a really competitive game against the Colts after everything else with the head
yep,
coach. It's that thing's on its last legs.
yep. Although I am relieved to see that the Packers don't look like the juggernaut they did the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, a little bit of a step back. Let's hope it continues.
And there has not really been, other than that first game, there hasn't really been a Micah Parsons boost for the Packers, has there?
I think he was pretty good against Washington too.
Okay.
But they had that weird two home games to start the season in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So the momentum was like rode that right into the next game. All
Right.
right, the shambling corpse of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers skill positions head Monday night into Detroit. And
Mm,
it's a darn shame they're so banged up because that would be one fun game
yeah.
otherwise. Still might be a lot of fun. I'm I can't pick the Bucks against the Lions with half the Bucks offense hurt. Like that's Detroit's Detroit didn't look good against KC. I mean, I get that, but they're at home. It's a big game. They're going to show up for it. And if Tampa was healthy, it would be really a pick 'em for me because I think they're loaded this year with how good Ibuka's been. But he might not play. Evans isn't playing. Godwin's hurt. It's like who's playing besides the running backs?
Baker Mayfield's still playing, and he
And
looked
and the whirling dervish that is the most entertaining individual in the NFL.
he sure is.
He just might be him and Josh Allen.
Yeah, but I agree. I think
Not played well the last couple weeks. Old Josh Allen, who
yeah,
I
interesting.
do have
Yeah,
a fondness for.
Bills too in general. Yeah, Bills defense not what it should be with um, defensive head coach. Anyway, that's a side note. Yeah, I just think it's too much for the Bucks to overcome. But I still think it'll be fun, entertaining. But Lions squeak one out at home.
Yeah, I think that's a very like truncated way of thinking about this game. And I'm sorry if people want more, but it's hard for me to like analyze a roster that I don't know anything about the fourth, fifth, and sixth receiver. And how do you realistically think that is more likely to be the winner than the other good team they're playing? It's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward. But that would have been the game of the week on paper. So like I said, it's a bummer. We got Rams at Jags. Those are two 4-2 teams that no one can quite figure out.
Hmm.
Indy 5-1 at the Chargers. That's 4-2, hosting 5-1. So there's some fun games that I don't think we necessarily need to pick. But one last NFL thing.
Okay.
The Jets are the only winless team in the league. Justin Fields had a really rough game against a really good Denver defense in London. A lot of reasons for that game to be ugly. I am curious about this game only because I like Justin the person. I don't think he's an NFL starting QB, but he came out and said he needed to be more aggressive.
Hmm.
And I'm like, have we ever seen that? Because the whole problem is he turns down the throws and he gets to them too late in the process of making the reads.
Yeah.
What does aggressive Justin Fields look like? Is that running more or being more aggressive with his throws? Because I'd be curious if it was the latter, if he could do it without the turnovers and stuff like that. The deep ball is there. It's always been there. That's
Yeah.
never been the issue. But I'm worried he just means he's going to take off and run.
That could be. Yeah.
We've never seen him consistently aggressive with his throws. The closest we got was like that game against Pittsburgh when Nagy was still the coach.
Hmm.
And they got screwed. That was a
Yes, they
brutal
did
one.
a couple times. Yeah. Hmm.
That might have been the only game I think the refs were worse for the Bears than this week's. That was, or what's his face bumps the ref, and I was like, wait, what did he even do?
Hmm. Well, the ref bumped into him.
I'm sorry, the ref bumped into him.
Stuck his.
What's that guy's name? I don't remember his name.
I
He's
don't know. He was.
song and dance on the roster.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious what that looks like. I still would love to see Fields become a Taysom Hill type because he'd be a better at everything version of Taysom Hill
Yeah, yeah.
because he's an outrageous athlete. I don't know. I just
That's a
rambling on
good point.
Fields,
I
but
had never thought about that. Yeah, he would be a Taysom
but
Hill.
he'd have to be where the starter is like unassailable,
Mhm.
so that you don't get the Justin Fields Colt causing problems, which is not his fault, but
No, it's
it
not.
does seem to exist.
It does. Yep.
So, all right, take us out of here. I got to get back to work.
Thank you, everyone, for checking in to this episode of Barely Educated. Find us on all the socials at barely_educated. Join our honor roll on our Buy Me a Coffee website, which is buymeacoffee.com/barely_educated. We will check in with you at some point after the Bears and Saints game. Hopefully, another W, but let's play the games to find that out. Have a great weekend as well. Talk to you next time. Bear down, my friends.
I see you two all the time. You're thick as thieves, you are.
You suck, Chris.
I am wounded!
You owe me an apology.
Caleb Williams. My Chicago Bears.
I love the Bears.